Jami Cox entry. I have the pleasure of serving as the Alderwoman of the 8th Ward here in the city of St. Louis. Before we get into our final portion of the evening, I just want to again thank all of our organizers. Thank you to the Democratic committees for organizing. Thank you to all of you for sticking around and staying with it. This is a really, really important discussion and evening that we're having, and so I'm so glad this room is full. And without further ado, I will turn things over to our moderators for our final portion of the evening. That everybody needs to sit down and be quiet. That was all. All right, thank you. All right, and I will introduce our moderators, Inez and Ben.
Hello.
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Can y'all hear? Oh, my mic is not working. Can I borrow yours? Can y'all hear me? Fantastic. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you so much for being here. My name is Inez Bordeaux. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Committeewoman of the 3rd Ward. Do y'all see how fine I look tonight? Make sure y'all go like my picture on Flicks. He is not able to attend in person, but we did extend an opportunity for him to send us a written statement that could be read by a member of his team, a video statement that we could play for all of you all, or attend via Zoom to be here tonight. And all of those opportunities were declined by his office. So with that being said, we are going to proceed to the federal part of our presentation tonight. And you have Mrs. Cori Bush here with us tonight in person. Multiple questions were submitted, so we are going to go to those questions, and time permitting, look at me. If we have time, we will go to questions from the audience, okay? If we have time, look at me, okay? And so with that, I'm gonna pass it to my partner, Ben, to introduce himself, and we'll get started with the questions, okay?
Hello, my name is Ben Murray. I'm the Democratic Committeeman for the 7th Ward. I also am a legislative assistant at the Missouri Capitol, and really excited to have some great candidates. Thank you, everybody. I know it has been a long night. I know there's like a lot of different people in different spaces, so I appreciate everybody keeping it respectful. Really want to have a chance to hear from both of these folks.
You want to go first?
We want to let them make an opening statement?
Yes,
okay.
But I don't know, does your mic work well?
I think they both can't work at once is the issue.
That's the way that it tends to work. How do y'all, if y'all could share microphones?
No, you might as well go first because I'm staying.
Got you. All right, so I have a statement for the Congress of Wesley Bill. Thank you all for the work, for the wards, putting together this great event this evening. I'm sorry to miss it. I have been to DC voting today and on the plane right now. For the past 2 years, I have been proud to serve you as your representative in Congress. For those who don't know my background, I was raised in North St. Louis City, went to Missoula, and worked as a public defender working on the fixing inequities of the criminal justice system. In 2018, I challenged a 28-year incumbent and became the St. Louis County prosecuting attorney. I am immensely proud of the work that we did in that office. Our gun violence task force took hundreds of guns off the streets, and we expanded diversion programs with nearly a 90% success rate. In 2024, I ran for Congress to bring accountable and effective representation to DC. Over the past 2 years, I've worked tirelessly fighting Trump and his racist, corrupt, and fascist agenda. I've called for impeachment, the resignation of cabinet officials, the abolishment and dismantling of ICE. With Trump tearing our country apart, Democrats must band together to stop him. But the first step is showing up to do the job. And that is something that separates me, from my predecessor. Missing over 254 votes isn't showing up. Missing over half of your committee votes in the last Congress isn't showing up. I have shown up to vote. I am proud to have the endorsement of every member of Democratic leadership and the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm equally proud to be endorsed by most impactful organizations fighting for a progressive agenda: Planned Parenthood, our labor unions, the League of Conservative Voters, Defend the Vote, and so many others that have endorsed our campaign for re-election. In addition, I'm laser focused to bringing resources back to St. Louis, where we need investments and opportunity. In our first year in Congress as a freshman member in the minority party, I announced over $12 million in community project funding. Through these projects, we've been able to help fund improvements to senior centers, first responders, our airport, and other critical infrastructure projects. These funds make a real difference in everyday lives of St. Louisans. We've also brought back a casework program that was non-existent under my predecessor. We saved constituents thousands of dollars, reunited families, and assisted in navigating complicated red tape. This work isn't glamorous, but it is crucial.
Thank you much.
Hold on just a second. I've proven in my first term that I'm deeply committed to this region, and I know the bright days are ahead.
Thank you
you for the opportunity to serve you, and I hope for your support in August. Thank you.
All right. Let's have some order. Also, I've been told it's raining outside, so if people can, we're all friends here, scooch in so that everybody has a chance to participate. And with that,
If y'all are this close to me, you would have to buy a drink. But due to the fact that it's raining, we're gonna scooch in, okay? We're gonna scooch in.
all right, Ms. Bush.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm so honored to be sitting here with all of you, and shout out to all 5 wards that made the decision to come together to put this on. I think it's so informative for all of us. Let me just first start by saying my name is Cori Bush, and I'm here. I am here like I always am. I showed up like I always show up. And so let me just say, we are in a place right now in this country where change has to happen, and it has to happen quickly. We need leaders that are true fighters. We're all here today right now because we care about St. Louis. We love St. Louis. Can I have a different, is it other night? It keeps going out. Thank you. We love St. Louis. We care about the people of this community. We care about our small businesses. We care about the land, the earth. We care about what happens in the future right here in this community. And so what we need in order to ensure that we get what St. Louis deserves and that we have a future where everyone can thrive starting now is we need a leader who is a fighter, who's willing to go after those things that we need, not somebody that's just going to join the fight. We need somebody that will lead the fight, and that's your former Congresswoman Cori Bush, ready to go back. It's funny because, the congressman can say all of these things, but he said, this is the thing. You can say those things, but what are you showing us? What are you showing us? I am sitting here. Let me tell you this. When the vote happened, the vote came about today. Yeah, it was about 4 something in D.C., but I do know that there is a 6 o'clock flight that can get you here by 8:15, 8:30, something like that, to be able to show up. But regardless, I am here for you the same way I've always been, and I am on a mission. Let me say, people have asked me why am I running again? Because I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission for St. Louis because Donald Trump and his allies, his MAGA allies, are steamrolling our community. They are taking our rights, stripping our rights away one by one by one. They are going after funding we need for housing, funding we need for education, funding we need for food. They have a plot against kids. They have an issue with children. Why can't children have SNAP benefits through their parents? Why can't children have what they need for funding? Why are we attacking the Department of Education? And so when we hear the congressmen talk about fighting Trump, you can't actually fight Trump when Trump's donors fund you primarily. How are you fighting who you're pocketing money from? You're putting this money in your campaign coffers. Those are the people who said you can go to the seat. They primarily funded you to take the seat. So how are you saying that you're fighting him? You're not fighting him, you're playing.
Thank you, future Congresswoman.
My title will always be Congresswoman.
The St. Louis region is currently being targeted with data center redevelopment that has seen bipartisan opposition, not just from in the city, but in rural parts of exurban St. Louis as well, and has been widely opposed. What will you do as a representative to confront the predatory tech industry?
So first of all, they came at me already, spending millions of dollars trying to make sure that they would unseat me. And I'm not afraid of them. There are bills already written from some of our friends in Congress. I would work with them already. I would work with Senator Sanders. I would work with Rep. AOC and others who are doing this work. The one thing about it is when we know that we don't have the data right now for these big data centers that they're trying to drop in our communities from city to county, we know we don't have the data when we know that what we've seen is this country has a history, and let me just say billionaires and in certain parts of our government have a history of doing the thing and then saying oops when they hurt, when they bring harm to our communities, as evidenced by the radioactive waste that's possibly throughout our communities, as evidenced by the fact that people, especially we look at the ratio black children and white children and asthma in our communities, as we look at lead that was paint before, and then lead gas. Oh, we messed that up. We don't want to be on the we messed it up end, with these data centers. We want you to figure it out first. We want you to test it first. Don't bring it to our communities. And we know that there are already some smaller ones here, but I am the one that would speak up and stand up along with those who are already leading in that area to make sure that St. Louis is not one of the ones that they can just run through and steamroll, because Cori Bush will be here.
I'm gonna go sit by the future Congress. Okay, next question. With little federal support, what ways could you use the office to help those dealing with tornado damage from last May?
So let me start with proven leadership. I have proven leadership for bringing home the funding, for making sure that we get the attention needed for the funding, as evidenced by the 2022 flood. We had 2 1 in 1,000 year floods in 1 week. That day when the flood happened, we hopped up, got in our cars, and went to the site. We were walking around 9, 10 o'clock at night, walking through sewage and flood water, going knocking on doors, going into homes. We needed to see what was happening to people. We needed people to see their congresswoman and to see that's how much we cared. And then we took what we heard on those doors. We took what we heard in those backyards. We took what we heard in those basements. We took what we heard out there in the grass. And we took that and we came up with a plan to convene local, state, and federal agencies in a way that they had not been convened before. And we decided, you know what, they can be mad at us later, but we're going to do what we can for St. Louis. I don't care if they don't like me later, but get me what we need right now. And so what did I do? I was on TV all over the place. I was on every TV station, radio station, internet podcast I could be on, saying St. Louis experienced a flood and I need some money. And what happened? Because I did it so much, people got to the point to where they said, just to shut her up, help, give her some help. And that's what happened. It is quoted by St. Louis Public Radio that we were able to get FEMA on the ground faster than anyone. So that is the same thing that I would have done when I saw what was happening, and I knew what my office would have done differently. It broke my heart to see what was happening and knowing what could have been happening. So, you know what? You go for money you go for money that's not obvious. That's what I did. That's what I've done before. When the flood happened, there was no money. There was no money to be able to fix the Metro Link, the Forest Park, the Bolivar Metro Link stop. We know how busy that is. It's where the red and blue connect. Those cars were down. That area was down. And the former Mayor Tashara Jones came to me and she sat in my office. She said, Cori, we need $22 million. President Biden's office said, you know what, it's done. We can't give you any money. Tashara said, Cori, can you please figure this out? I reached out to everybody I knew. Look, I didn't care if you were the secretary. I needed Secretary of Transportation, but I reached out to the Secretary of Housing and everybody. I pulled every lever I could, and you know what? It turned out, even after they told me, no, Cori, no, Cori, no, Cori, I called Roy Blunt, Senator Roy Blunt, who is a Republican, and I said, can you help me? He said, because you called? Yes, absolutely. And he helped me. He got on the phone. I got on the phone. My team got on the phone. His team got on the phone. And you know what we did? We found somebody that would say, hey, we know where a pot of money is. If you fight for $214 million for these other states, out of that $214 million, we will give St. Louis $27 million. And I said, I got to fight for $200 million for other folks, and we only get 27. They said, if you want it, I said, absolutely. And so that's what I did. We pulled every lever. And so the same thing with the tornado. You can't worry about your reputation. You can't worry about if you're not going to get invited to the opera. You got to worry about what St. Louis needs. And so that's who I am, and that's who I will be when I go back.
Move on to the next question. I just want to remind everyone that there are hundreds of families in North and West St. Louis who are living in tents outside of their homes that were damaged by the tornado that was almost 1 year ago. 2 houses have been demolished by the city of St. Louis. What about the hundreds of others that are still waiting for support from both the city and the federal government?
Excellent. Thank you. So I picked this question fully as somebody who has lost my share of elections. This is a room full of, I think we can say, progressive voters. This is the Progressive Candidate Forum. You lost your last election by 6,000 votes in 2024. What is different this time? You're asking progressives to, again, invest their time, their treasure in you. How are you going to win?
So first off, one thing that was tough last time was a lot of people didn't know who AIPAC was. A lot of people did not know that that's where money was coming in. People saw money coming in to the congressman's campaign coffers and wondering like, wow, he's getting all of this money. Maybe it's because he's really great. And then afterwards they said, oh, snap. No, that's not what that money was. And so now people understand that, and people don't want their elected officials paid for by corporations or special interests. We want people who are only accountable to the people of this district, of this community. And that's what St. Louis deserves. And so what we're doing different, first of all, is we've already made sure that we've been putting it out. Hey, that's where this money came from. $15 million from AIPAC and their allies to unseat me. Now, let me say this. $15 million made us the second most expensive U.S. House race in history. Why were they coming for your congresswoman? Because your congresswoman was speaking out against Project 2025, and they knew that I was going to fight against it. And they didn't want us, they needed to move me out the way. They knew that I would fight against the genocide and I would speak. And this is the other thing, because they tried to say, oh, well, she only cares about Palestinians. She doesn't care about Israelis. She doesn't do this. She doesn't do that. What I care about is humanity, period. So I will speak out for each and every person, but I'm going to speak out louder for those that are being targeted, that are going to be marginalized. That's who I have to stand up for first, or the loudest. But my love is for every single person. So you won't put me in that hole to act like I hate, because the hatred belongs to those folks. But also what we're doing is we've staffed up faster. We staffed up, and it costs, y'all. So if you want to donate, please feel free, because it costs. CoriBush.org. But we staffed up. We're also working with a bunch of organizations. I know you all heard about all of these endorsements. Let me say this. National Planned Parenthood did endorse the incumbent, but oftentimes what we have to understand, especially with leadership in the Democratic Party too, in the House, they will go for the incumbent. Let me say this. They will support the incumbent. It's pretty much a rule. So it's okay. I'm not mad. It's good. I know who I am, and I know what my stance has been on reproductive justice, reproductive freedom. I know who I am and what I've done. Also, not only that, I know who the congressman is and what he's done. He was the campaign manager for someone who was running for this particular seat as a Republican who was trying to get a Missouri abortion ban. That's who he is. He's somebody who donates to Republicans, and he's somebody who is funded primarily by Republicans who, might I add, are trying to stop medication abortion. He's somebody that didn't even know what the Comstock Act is to be able to fight it when he entered Congress, which was something I worked on really, matter of fact, the whole caucus worked on heavily to try to stop the banning of medication abortion. So this is our opportunity to take back a seat that belong to the people of St. Louis, not big interest. This is about impact, not big PACs. This is about impacts. So this is about impact. And so the impact that I'm going to bring, this is going to be Cori 2.0, y'all. So y'all remember I was getting there. I was a freshman, but my first year, I was able to help save 11 million people from evictions in my first year, 7,000 in this district, just doing the action on the steps of the Capitol, and I learned some things after that. Well, let me say this. This is Cori wiser. This is Cori better. This is Cori stronger. This is Cori ready to go back and fight for all that St. Louis needs. But this is the thing. I'm not going back to fight by myself. I'm taking you with me like I did last time. We fighting this together. So if you're the one with the expertise on what happens to the freaking soil with these folks with these data centers, then I need to work with you. If you are the one who is the expert on how we make sure that we sustain, our community farms, that we do have our urban farming, I need to work with you. If you're the one that works on the water, because we got a water hike coming up in St. Louis City, if you're the one that can help with that, I need to work with you. I'm not going there to be the one to act like I know it all. I'm going there so St. Louis is represented.
All right. Yeah.
Our next question is Y'all see that dramatic pregnant pause? It's because I'm a theater kid. I know how to, like, suck y'all in for the next part. Y'all paying attention? Okay. With the recent Supreme Court ruling in Calais versus Louisiana, what are your thoughts on Supreme Court reform? And if in favor, which proposals do you have?
So when I was in Congress, I introduced with some of my colleagues in the House and Senate the Judiciary Act. And the Judiciary Act would, first of all, it would expand the court. It would call for a code of ethics with our Supreme Court justice and term limits. So that's where we have to start, because what we understand is who we have now, they keep, we understand it's a conservative court. So whatever Donald Trump wants right now, Donald Trump, for the most part, is getting. I understand what happened yesterday, that ruling that came down, that decision, and what that could possibly look like for this district. This is a Voting Rights Act district. We need that protected. Now, true enough, there's a possibility that the Republicans may say, you know what, we want to keep them over there because we want to make sure we keep the rest of this, really, really tight, Republicans. But what if they say no? We need somebody in this seat that will fight against that. We need them to be afraid to touch this district. And let me say right now, that is not what would happen, because the way that they are looking at it is like we have paid to make sure that there is not a lot of noise coming out of District 1. Yeah. What's about to happen is when I get back, Cori will be back in town, and then they will have to go through me, because going through me means they're going through us, because I know who y'all are. That's the other thing. When I hold my head up in Congress, when I walk those halls, when I'm sitting in those chambers, I can hold my head up because I know y'all. That's the thing. I know who are the organizers. I know who are the protesters. I know who are the advocates. I know who are the teachers. I know y'all, and I know how tough you are. And so I don't have to do this by myself. But what I will do, though, is join back up with my colleagues and push this Judiciary Act, because I'm not getting ready to just let them come and mess with St. Louis without a fight.
Can someone give me a time check?
It is 9:33. We are out of time.
Okay, fantastic. We want to thank the illustrious, the beautiful, the magnanimous, give me a word, Ben. Give me a word, I'm struggling.
On the spot.
Future Congresswoman of this district, Cori Bush, for answering our questions. My mic seems to be kind of going out, but that's okay. I'm an organizer. I can project, okay? For showing up to answer our questions today. Ben, would you like to close us out?
Can I get 1 minute, my 1 minute?
Oh, yes. Listen, I wasn't paying attention to the run of show, y'all. Cori, please give us your closing statement.
Pastor, you will do better than I will.
Again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for how you supported me in the past. And if you didn't support me in the past, and if you still don't support me, that's okay too, because you know what? When you call my office, if you're hungry, I will still work to get you food. If you don't like me, if you villainize me, but you need help with housing, I'm still going to help you, and I'm still going to love on you. One thing you can't do is stop me from loving on you. So as we get ready to move towards August the 4th, I need your help. help. So this is my 1 minute closeout. I need your help. First of all, I need help. Okay, I got 30 seconds. I need help on the doors. I need help on postcards. I need help on the phones. I need help with these other groups that are working with us to help turn out this vote. All we have to do, you all, I got the name ID. I just need people to remember their congresswoman in the work and to remember that they need a fighter, because that's all we're hearing. You know, we need a fighter so much that now the congressman is calling himself a fighter. If you have to start to be like me, then it's me. I'm the leader and not you. You're the follower. So I need your help. But even beyond that, I need your vote. I humbly ask for your vote on August the 4th this year, and I need you to bring 10 people with you when you go to the polls. So my team is here. Team, wave your hands. Team is here. If you got any questions, thank you all so much. Your Congresswoman loves you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight.